You know the feeling when something that used to fit perfectly starts to feel too small? I'm not talking about clothes. That's where I'm at right now in life. And it's not that anything is wrong. Actually, life is pretty good. I feel like I've kind of found a neutral after a really chaotic last 2 years. But sometimes good and comfortable can feel a lot like being stuck. Because the thing about comfort zones is that they are comfortable. And after having a hard 2 years especially, I've built a really safe world. It's quite a small world. The other day I was looking out my window and I was looking at the winter branches and trees that are outside in my yard. Something that I've trained myself to do over the last 2 years, find the glimmers. You know, like the little spots in life that bring you joy or kind of bring you back to baseline when everything else feels out of control. And when nothing big is good, you know, the little things, you really have to focus on those. So I'm looking at these winter trees and branches are bare. They're up against this gray backdrop, and at first glance it feels kind of depressing. And then I look closer and I realize that actually I can see little birds on all the branches that normally I would never be able to notice, because in the spring and the summer the tree branches are full and it hides the birds, and those birds were always there, right? I just couldn't see them before. And it got me thinking about how growth works. Sometimes things need to feel empty or uncomfortable for us to make a change before we can actually see the new possibilities in front of us, even when that feels terrifying. Especially when that feels terrifying. So that's why I'm here, starting a new channel, filming long-form content, going onto YouTube. It's something I've wanted to do for a really long time. And it's not that I now have everything figured out, because honestly, I'm pretty nervous right now, but I've learned over the last 2 years that taking the scary steps, those are the ones we need to take in order to grow. You know, it's funny. So 2 years ago, when I started sharing my story online about my divorce, abrupt separation, and my whole life kind of falling apart, I did it because I needed to find people who could show me that hope was possible. Because in my life at that time, I really didn't see any hope. I didn't see any point in continuing on going, and I couldn't envision what my future was going to look like. And through that sharing, that sharing became a lifeline. And not just for me, for other people too. Created a community, and it's beautiful and incredible. Somewhere along the way, things kind of shifted. Because sometimes on my other platforms, I feel like I'm the divorce girl. And I don't want to be known for my divorce. I don't want my divorce to be the most interesting thing about me. And don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly proud of my journey, and I'm incredibly proud of helping others find their way through that dumpster fire storm, you know, that is going through something like that. But just like how those winter trees are not just what they've lost, I am also more than what I have lost. And healing changes you, you know? Sometimes the box that you create to help you heal, to help you feel safe, I think it's natural to feel like you outgrow it a little bit. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to outgrow something that once served you so beautifully. A little like learning how to ride a bike, where you have the training wheels, and at first that's necessary because it gives you guidance and barriers and helps you understand your balance. But after a while, you start to be like, what would happen if the training wheels were off? You begin to realize that the training wheels are holding you back from the full speed that you can go. And that's kind of where I am right now. You know, I'm realizing that the glimmers, small moments of joy, of peace, they were never just about surviving divorce. They were teaching me something so much bigger, how to stay open to possibilities, even when change is uncomfortable, and especially when growth is uncertain. Because here's what I've learned. Our stories shape us, but they do not define us. The chapter of my life that broke me open, it's important. It made me who I am, but it isn't all of who I am, and it's definitely not all of who I'm becoming. Sometimes I wonder if this is what healing really feels like. Not just putting yourself back together, the broken pieces, but realizing that you are more than the sum of those pieces. You're more than what happened to you. You are more than your hardest chapter, and you're more than your biggest loss. And as for trying something new and stepping out of the safety and security that I've created for myself, it's not my first time here. I think about when I went out to go eat at a restaurant by myself for the first time ever as an adult during my separation. I was so scared. That was terrifying to me. And now it's one of my favorite things to do. I mean, the first post I made talking about my journey, my experience, what I was going through, I was scared to share that too. But my need for something greater, for growth, for healing, it outweighed my fear. And I couldn't let my fear stand in the way of what I needed to do to survive. And being silent was way scarier than speaking up. I was done being silent. I'm still done being silent. It wasn't ever about not being afraid. It was remembering or realizing that fear and courage are roommates. They can coexist. And fear, for me at least, I think is the compass that kind of guides me towards where I need to be. All that to say, here I am again, feeling nervous, doing something for the first time. And I am nervous, but also I am trusting in myself, trusting the fear, leaning into it. Because every time I have felt scared, I have discovered a new, cooler evolution of myself on the other side of it. So, what am I hoping to find on the other side of fear? I have no idea. I really don't. But I think that's the point. And I think like the winter trees, the glimmers that I saw, letting go of the familiarity of seeing what was there and opening your eyes to something that is different and new. A part of myself has always been there, and now I'm discovering it. I do have some ideas. Some of them are too scary to say out loud right now. I'm still working on like saying them in my head to myself, but things like taking a self-defense class or dating, I am just leaning into those little steps of courage, trusting that I'm gonna discover something in the process. It's been 2 years of doing scary things, and I like myself better every day. So I'm scared, but I am excited to kind of see what comes next, you know? I guess what I'm really hoping to discover through starting this channel, branching out beyond just divorce stuff, is I think I want proof that growth doesn't stop because we're comfortable. So here's to trying things scared. Let's find some glimmers in the unknown. If you are in the same boat, maybe your comfort zone feels too comfortable, or maybe you didn't choose to get pushed into something new, but you found yourself in that situation. I want us to figure this out together. That's what glimmers are. Little things that remind us that there is always something to discover. There's always something to see. Here's to doing it scared. To finding the glimmers, to trying new things. The only way out is through. That's been my mantra for the last 2 years. The only way out is through. And at first that was a survival tactic because I literally just had to get from day to day. And now life feels way more about thriving than surviving. So here's to what we're going to discover on the other side of our comfort zones. Cheers.